Hello, once again, nice to have you here. Today I want to do a simple tutorial. It's very simple, but it's also very tricky. I got this request to do this tutorial because one of my subscribers actually fetched me out, sent me a message and told me that she tried to cut the flare and she's been learning for months and she's still not been able to cut flare. Cutting flare is one of the simplest thing to do when you want to sew, but if you don't get the trick or the concept, then it becomes really daunting. So today's tutorial basically is going to show you the simple technique or what it really means to cut a flare. There are different types of flare. One, you have the 360, you have the 180, that's a semi flare. It's not really flare. You have the 360, which is the full circle flare. You have the 720, which is double the circle flare. Then you have the 1440 flare, which is like 4 times your regular circle flare. Now, don't get confused with the figures. It's just arithmetic. So we're told when we're in school that you can never run away from maths, and that's the basic truth. You cannot run away from maths. In sewing, there is maths. In any business you do, there is maths. But in sewing, it's really easy and straightforward once you know your formula. And the formula to cutting in sewing is that you're dividing by 2 or you're dividing by 4. It's that easy. Then you need to add up. So first I will show you what 180 flare is. Then I will show you what the 360 flare is. Then the 720. Then the 1440. It's very simple. Just get your head around it. So let's get started. So if you want to cut a flare, the first thing you need to know is that you need to know the waist or where you want to add this flare to, the width of that particular outfit. If it's like a peplum top, you need to get the circumference of the bottom of your top and divide it by 4, because when you fold, like to cut a semi flare, you're going to get something like this. A semi flare is not a full circle. You don't fold into 4 equal pieces. You do like a triangular fold. You know, you have your fabric folded into 2 like this. Then you just go triangularly like this. You just fold to get like a triangle fold. Then when you get the triangle fold, from this point you want to get the waist. So you get your tape and you try to get the waist, and it's something you need to do systematically. When you get your tape, like for instance, let's say I need a circumference of the top of my peplum. I need maybe 20. So what do I need to do? To get the 20, get your tape, divide it by 4, because this fabric is folded into 4. So divide that 20 by 4, okay, and you get 5. So if you place your fabric, your tape this way across the fabric, and you get 5, that tells you that your flare is going to be cut from somewhere at this point. But I don't cut. It's not very advisable to cut your flare this way because it doesn't really give you that nice shape you want. So instead of you just cutting across, what I like to do is I've gauged where I'm going to have that 20 circumference. So I just take my tape, place at the tip of the fabric like this, and I see that this point is 6. So I just measure 6. I measure 6. I move my tape. I measure 6. So just get your chalk and you connect those dots. Get your tape, go over it, and see if you get 5. So you see, I got 5. So when I times 5 by 4, I'm going to get 20. So if I cut this off, that means I'm going to get 20 inches wide peplum. So if I want something higher, like 30 or 40, I just need to keep going down from this point. So that's for cutting your 180 flare. Now, if you want to cut your 360 flare, that means you want a full circle flare. In that case, we will not be folding triangularly. We're going to be folding into a square. You need to fold this way. Now, when you fold this way, what you fold depends on the circumference of the peplum or your flare. Now let's assume we want a flare with a circumference of 20 inches. We still need to do the same technique as we did earlier. To get your 20, you need to place your tape. That means you need about 5 inches around this point. So I'm going to place my tape and see at what point I'm going to get 5, which is 5 times 4 gives me 20. So somewhere at this level. So now I'm just going to measure 5. Let me see what's there. From this point to this point is about 3.5. So let me go 3.5 all round, leaving my tape at that point. 3.5, 3.5. So just get your chalk, and I'm going to do this. Now get your tape and measure and see if we can get 5. So when I go around, I get 6, which is 6 times 4 equals 24. So that's too much. I don't need 24. I wanted 20. That means I need to move up a little. So instead of getting 3.5 as I did earlier, now I'm going to have to get 3. So let's try 3 from this point. 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. So let's see what we've got. Placing your tape at the beginning, then just shifting it systematically as you go on. So I have 5.5 as I get here. So 5.5 gives me 22. If I multiply that by 4, I needed 20. It's 22. It's still too much. So you just need to come up a little more. Okay? And you still measure and see. Okay, now let's see what we have here. Yeah, so now I have my 20 inches. So that's how you progress if you want to get the circumference of your flare. So if you want it bigger than 20, that means you need to come lower. So also as you do this, don't forget you need to also consider your fold. Because if you want a flare, for instance, that is 20 inches and you fold this small, there's going to be issues. So you need to fold really big so that by the time you get your circumference, what you have left here will be able to accommodate the flare that you want. Now, to get your 720, it's really simple. All you need to do is cut 2 times your full circle flare. So assuming your waist of the circumference you want about 30, that means you need to cut 2 separate circle, 360 circle, 15 inches, 15 inches, so that when you add it to, it becomes 30. So there will be a joining. When you do that, your flare is super full. Then when you want the 1440, that's what you also need to do. You need to get 4 full circle. That means you need to divide your waist into 4, or your circumference that you need into 4. So assuming you want 20 inches waist, that means each circle needs to be 5 inches round, 5 inches round, 5 inches round into 4 places. That gives you 20. But as you cut, don't forget to add half an inch because you need to join. So you need to progressively add depending on how many circles you want to put together. I hope the explanation is easy. Now I want to cut the full circle flare. So I'm going to cut this for, like, maybe I want to use it for a top. A top that is about, let's assume we want 36 inches waist or 34 inches waist. So if I want 36, it has to be divided by 4, which is 9. So I would need 9 going around like this. So let's see what will give me 9 inches. So it's somewhere here. So let me start measuring from the pointed part of my top. I'm going to measure 5. Don't forget, always leave your tape up there, but you move the bottom but you don't move the top. 5. So all I need to do now is to draw. Now get your tape and measure going around. Leave your hand there. You don't want to move that. So I have 8.5. That means I need more. So I'm just going to add ½ inch, or make it 5.5 inches, as opposed to the 5 inches I did earlier. 5.5, 5.5. So let's see what we have here. if it's up to 36. So I'm just going to hold that. Yeah, so I have 9.5, which is 38. So I needed 36. But you know, if I'm going to sew, I'll need to add at least half an inch allowance. So if I do that, that will be perfect for me. So that's our waist. Now let me see what I have here, if it will give me the length of the peplum I need. So from this point now, I'm going to measure 9 inches. I want 9 inches peplum. So you see, I have 9 inches. Perfect. So what I folded was enough. But if you wanted longer, you need to fold more. So 9 inches, you just keep moving systematically as you go. 9 inches, 9 inches, 9 inches. So connect all your dots. Yeah, so if we're going to cut this way and that way. But if you don't want your bottom of your flare to be curved, you want it to just be, you know, free, you want to be like asymmetric, in that case, you won't do this. What you need to get is, okay, let's do it this way, 9 inches this way. That means you have 14.5. So you need to come this way also and do 14.5. Okay. Or let's make it longer, 15 inches. Then we'll do 15 inches here. Okay. So get your ruler. So if you measure the 15 inches all around from the circumference of your flare, and you don't curve it, this is what you get, a square at the bottom. And when you open it up, you get something like this. So it's not straight, it's a bit shaggy at the edges, so a bit asymmetric. But if you want it to be flare, then all you need to do is to cut around the line. And when you do that, what you get is a smooth and round flare. So it depends on what you're going for. So if you like my video, please do not forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. And till I come your way next week, thanks for watching, and see you then.